Hello and welcome to another video review brought to you by yours truly, Thorazine. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Mortal Kombat figure by way of Noob Saibot from the Mortal Kombat Classic Ninja 6-pack by Jazzwares. As you can see, this is another variation on the Classic Ninja design from the Mortal Kombat video game series. This is a 3 3/4 or 4-inch figure, but scales perfectly well with 3 3/4 inch figures such as G.I. Joe and Marvel Universe. Let's get these out of here. Like I said, this is another variation on the Classic Ninja design. Not a whole lot to talk about here, as it is done almost completely in black and a little bit lighter black. This is the same mold that was used for Sub-Zero, as well as Scorpion, Reptile, Ermac, and Rain. The only differences are the paint applications, which is true to the character design from the video game also. Let's get a good look at the figure here. Front and back. And as you can see, the figure is done completely in black with some lighter black tone through his costume design there. The figure's eyes are kind of a blank gray color. Kind of neat, stays true to the character. Like I said, not a whole lot to talk about that's different than the other figures. With that being said, let's take a look at the articulation on this guy. The foot has the typical peg and hole assembly with a hinge, which allows you to tilt the foot forward and backwards, as well as rotate at the ankle 360 degrees. The knee is single hinged, which provides 90 degrees of motion. It also has a swivel point just above the knee, which provides 360 degree rotation. The hip is ball jointed, which allows for about 90 degrees of lateral motion, roughly the same amount of forward motion there in the leg. Nothing towards the back because the hind quarter there kind of blocks any backwards articulation the figure might have. You can also rotate the leg 360 degrees there with the ball joint. The waist, no articulation. There is that typical mid-torso articulation point that allows you to move the upper body forward and backwards slightly, as well as turn it from side to side for a full 360 degree rotation there mid-torso. The hands, typical peg and hole assembly, allows for 360 degree rotation there at the wrist. The elbow is single hinged, which allows for roughly 90 degrees of motion there at the elbow, as well as 360 degree rotation. The shoulder is ball hinged, which allows for slightly more than 90 degrees of lateral motion in the arm, as well as 360 degree rotation for the arm in the front to back motion. The head is attached with a ball joint, which allows you to move the head forward and backwards slightly, as well as cock it slightly off to the side for a bit of expressive posing. And typically you get 360 degree rotation out of the ball joint also. That's about all there is for articulation on this figure. I don't have a lot of complaints about these figures. They do get quite a bit of a bad rap on the internet for not living up to their cyborg counterparts from the 4-inch line. The only real complaint I have about the figure personally is that they use a slightly rubbery plastic, which gives the figure a slightly cheap feel. As you can see in the elbow there, does give the appearance of wanting to pop off the peg there in the assembly. Not a big deal if you're not expecting to get a lot of playware out of your figures. I personally tend to put my figures on a shelf once I'm done reviewing them and photographing them, so they don't get much play anyway. But if you are someone who likes to extensively play with your figures, you might want to be a bit easy on these guys. Now, Noob Saibot here's paint applications, being as they're almost all black, are nowhere near as I don't want to say flawed, but the paint applications don't stand out in a bad manner the same way they do on some of the other Ninja figures. Not to say that the other Ninja figures are bad, but the kind of matte finish that they use on the paint does give them a slightly cheaper feel. Being all black on this figure, it does kind of save this guy from the same fate there. This is probably my favorite out of the set of 6 just because of the black paint applications. Not so much for the color scheme, but just because the black gets pulled off really well and it doesn't have the same kind of matte finish that the other figures do. Well, it kind of does, but it doesn't show up as well being black on black. Anyway, final thoughts on this figure. Not a bad figure at all. I don't know if I would pay much above retail for the set, which was $35. I know I've seen them going on eBay for quite a bit more, but at retail, this is a good buy. You get 6 of the classic. You get 6 of the classic Mortal Kombat Ninjas, all in 3 3/4 inch scale, for about $35. You can't really go wrong there. That's about $6 a figure, which is way below retail. I guess what it really boils down to is how much you want the figures. Again, if you're not a hardcore collector of action figures, I don't know if I would go much above retail, but if you really want these guys, you know, it's up to you to decide how much they're worth to you. This has been another video review brought to you by Thorazine. Thank you for watching, and tune in again when we'll be talking about some more toys.